It is 7:01. It is 7:01 on Tuesday, September 2nd. I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order. Will you please join me in the flag salute? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And for the record, all the members of the governing body are present tonight. Is there any additions to the agenda? Are there any declarations of ex-party contact, conflict of interest, bias, etc.? Don't hear any. Opportunity for public comment. Is there any public comment? Doesn't appear to be. That moves us to consent agenda from August 18th and the City Council regular session minutes. What would council like to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ort.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. There are no public hearings tonight. Whoops, sorry. Presentations. Years of service recognition. Alyssa?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. It is time for our annual recognition of employees who've been with the city for 5, 10, 15 plus on and on years. It looks like we have one of the employees here tonight. And she's actually first on my list. And we have 5 total this year having anniversaries. First up is Gwen Johns. Chief Johns is recognized for 5 years of service to the city. Gwen joined the city in 2020 as police captain and went on to serve as acting police chief in August 2022 before being appointed permanently to the position later that year. Her leadership extends well beyond the city with active involvement in the Oregon Association Chiefs of Police, the RAIN Board overseeing CopLink and Crime Tracer, the Law Enforcement Torch Run, the Human Trafficking Task Force, the Marion County Domestic Violence Task Force, the Marion County Multidisciplinary Team, and the Metcom Dispatch Board of Directors, where she serves as the second vice chair. She is also part of the Northwest Accreditation Alliance. Her career in law enforcement spans more than 26 years with the Newburgh-Dundee Police Department before coming to Stayton, preceded by early work at the Santiam Correctional Institution. She earned her bachelor's degree from Western Oregon State University and has received numerous awards, including the FBI Leadership Award, the Unsung Hero Award for the Law Enforcement Torch Run, and recognition for more than 30 years of volunteer service to Special Olympics Oregon. Outside of her professional life, she is supported by her husband, Ron, and their 3 sons, Jordan, Aaron, and Caden. She is passionate about soccer, outdoor activities, volunteering with youth, and her love of Ford Mustangs. She has also given countless hours of service through Camp Rosenbaum, Special Olympics, the Stayton Rotary, and the Stayton Chamber. We are very grateful for Gwen's outstanding leadership, commitment to public safety, and her lasting contributions to both the city of Stayton and the broader community. Congratulations, Gwen. We don't need to make her come up. We can give it to her later. I mean, you can. We have a certificate for you, Gwen, if you'd like to come up. Oh, amazing. Perfect. All right, next up we have Randy Huberger. She works in our finance department. She's being recognized for 10 years of service to the city. Throughout her career, she has contributed her talents in several key roles, including cashier receptionist, accounting specialist in both accounts payable and payroll, and most recently as assistant finance director. She has been actively engaged in her profession through memberships with the Oregon Government Finance Officers Association, the National GFOA, and the Northwest Women's Leadership Academy, where she also earned recognition for her participation. Outside of work, her greatest pride is her family, her daughters Ayana and Kaya. We are deeply grateful for Randy's dedication and leadership, and we thank her for the positive impact she's made on the city and the community. Thank you, Randy. All right. Next up, we've got Jason Miley. He works in the Public Works Department, and he's being recognized for 10 years of service to the city. He began his career with the city as a waste and stormwater collections operator at the wastewater treatment plant. After 3 years, he transferred into his current role as a Public Works utility operator, where he has continued to serve the community with dedication. Jason has also served on the Safety Committee and was the proud recipient of the Waste and Stormwater Collections Operator of the Year Award for the state of Oregon through the PNCWA. Before joining the city, he spent 13 years working for Knife River. Jason grew up in the Stayton area, is a graduate of Regis High School, and has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a business minor from Western Oregon University. Outside of work, he enjoys spending time with his wife of 16 years and their 3 daughters, and loves just about any activity that gets him outdoors. We want to thank Jason for his commitment, professionalism, and contributions to the city and our community. All right. Michael Schmidt, he works in our Public Works Administration office and is being recognized for 10 years of service to the city. During his time with the city, he has served in the roles of Senior Engineering Technician and Engineering Associate, contributing to important projects that have supported the growth and improvement of our community. Prior to joining Stayton, he worked for the City of Lebanon from 2000 to 2014. He holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Civil Engineering from the Oregon Institute of Technology in Klamath Falls, and has earned multiple professional certifications, including Certified Erosion and Sediment Control Lead, Certified ADA Curb Ramp Inspector, OSHA Confined Space, and Cross Connection Specialist. He has shared that he has enjoyed his employment with the city and takes pride in contributing to the overall improvement of both the city and Public Works. I want to thank Michael for his professional expertise, dedication, and commitment to the city. Okay. And last but not least, we have Elizabeth Baldwin, who is being recognized for 25 years of service with the city. Over the course of her career, she has served in a variety of roles, including cashier and receptionist, utility billing clerk, court clerk, public records clerk, accounts receivable, and account specialist. She has also been an active member of the Safety Committee and has contributed to her profession through involvement with the Oregon Association of Court Administrators and the National Court Administrators. Elizabeth earned her Associate of Science degree in Human Resources from Chemeketa Community College and even brought prior public service experience from her time as a bookkeeper with the City of Canyonville. Outside of work, she enjoys playing piano, singing, reading, traveling, crafting, and spending time with her husband, Steve, their children, Charles and Megan, Andrew and Stevie, Caitlin and Corey, and Kevin, and her grandchildren, Emma, Nariah, Jana, and Dawson. We are very grateful for her many contributions to the city and community, and we thank her for her years of service, along with everybody else. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Alyssa. Lots of milestones there, so it's nice to see. And I have hats off to all those folks that were recognized tonight. That leads us to there is no public hearing, so that leads us to general business. And the first item on general business is a continued discussion of council rules. Julia?
Yes. So at the last meeting, we started the discussion of council rules. Councilor Ort wasn't here, and there was some additional thought and discussion that we wanted. So I just wanted to point you to your packet. Based on the direction provided at the last meeting, we made changes that's on the pages 9 through 30, 5 of your packet. On page 12, we made changes to Chapter 1, Section 6B3, appointments. We eliminated this to reflect the current practice of allowing appointments on the consent agenda. Chapter 1, item 6B8 and 9, we changed the order of communication so that we're doing what we're actually doing, which is having the staff do their updates before mayor and council. And then 6C6 and 6E2A, we changed the residency information from place of residence to city of residence. And still in Chapter 1, on page 13 of your packet, 6D4, we eliminated that section to reflect the current practice of allowing appointments to be on the consent agenda. On Chapter 5, which begins on page 24 of your packet, Section 4A, we eliminated the words that require a vote to reflect the current practice of allowing council or allowing public comment for all agenda items rather than just agenda items that require a vote. And 6E, we changed place of residence to city of residence again to clarify that the street address is not required. On page 27, Chapter 7, we added a section, or we modified that section to reflect the change in council liaisons to move away from the topic of or the broad category of liaisons and being more specific in the way that we've been doing it over the past several years with counselors serving as a liaison to a board and commission. And I just want to highlight that because that's really a new section. Council liaisons, it says the mayor shall appoint counselors to serve as liaisons to boards and commissions, both internal and external to the organization. The intent is to ensure two-way communication between the boards and commissions, with council liaisons responsible for attending and reporting to the board or commission updates from the council and reporting back to council updates from the board or commission. And then we've listed the following appointments will be made and affirmed in January of each year. And we've listed the Planning Commission, Parks and Recreation Board, Library Board, Sewer Committee per the Stayton Sublimity Sewer Agreement, Public Arts Commission, School Board, Chamber Board, Saniam Hospital Board, Revitalize Downtown Stayton, and then as a catch-all, additional liaison assignments as deemed necessary and appropriate by the mayor. So that was new. We discussed the concept, but the actual verbiage is new from what we discussed at the last meeting. On page 31, there was discussion at the last meeting about modifications to the attorney phraseology. I had raised concerns about it seemed very restrictive to say you could only access the attorney, no more than once a month and no more than 2 hours. And so what I've proposed, I'll just read it out loud. It says, council members may request advice from the city attorney on matters reasonably related to their role as a counselor. To ensure efficient use of resources, requests should ordinarily be coordinated with the city manager, except in matters directly concerning the city manager. Requests anticipated to require substantial time or expense, or that may be duplicative of other inquiries, as determined by the city attorney and/or city manager, should be brought forward for concurrence by the mayor or majority of the council. And what this allows is that if you were to go to the city attorney, he can say, hey, this is something that we need to talk to council about. And obviously if you went to me, because I know that there was some concerns about whether or not there might be circumstances where you want to go to the attorney. So that's the proposed language there. And then I also proposed changes on page 34, which is the per diem discussion. And it's really just reflecting what's in our employee manual so that you're able to you're able to get your mileage based on the government rate, per diem meals in accordance with the GSA government guidelines, reimbursement for parking and things like that. So that's the proposed changes that we discussed at the last meeting, and then we delayed the discussion of the meeting time and the meeting times which was really what started this conversation, to this evening. So that's on page 16 of your packet.
Is that it, Julia?
Yes, I guess with that, I would look for any comments on the proposed changes, if that captured it, if you have any issues or questions about those, and then really just focus on the discussion of, are we changing the meeting time?
Okay, before we do that, one thing we didn't change was an opportunity for a public comment. Mr. Hayes, you're the only public in the audience. Do you have anything to say?
Nick.
Oh, Nick too, but Nick doesn't really count. Doesn't appear so. Thank you. Council discussion. Julie, I do have one question before we get going. I thought it was interesting at the last discussion about this that when the question is called for, we still have to do a majority of the body to call for the question. Did we change that somewhere in there or no?
No, I was just highlighting that
Gotcha.
that was in there and that we hadn't really followed that. I think that's just a
Gotcha.
Robert's Rules thing, and I don't think we followed that correctly at the Budget Committee meetings.
Found that interesting. All right, Council.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Sims.
No, I looked through here. I didn't have any problems with the changes. I think we just need to figure out if the meeting time of 7 o'clock would work for everybody. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with any of the changes.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ort.
what was the discussion regarding like changing the meeting? Was it just the time or was it dates?
I think it was time, yeah.
Okay.
And I think what you have there on page 2 of 2 was the discussion, I think.
Page 8 of your packet. I will say for Councilor Ort, I did mention that while it's stated there as an option to have work sessions on the second and fourth Mondays, my staff did not support that, and I think the majority of council did not support that. So just so you know.
I read this, it doesn't say anything about like the different times. Were you guys talking about changing it to like 6?
So I think they didn't, I'm sorry, they didn't discuss it because they wanted to have the conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was put on hold for you to have some
Thank you.
input.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Dave Patty, for that.
Thanks, David. Counselor Patty. For me personally, I don't know that 6 o'clock would be doable, but I would consider like 6:30 to move it down a little bit if that works for everyone.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Carey.
I think if we have our pre-council meetings, we could do that at 6 and then right into 6:30, because most of them don't last more than a half an hour.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor
Councilor yeah, just as it pertains to the council rule amendments and that were done here, I just want to say thank you for going through and getting those accomplished based on what was kind of discussed. As it pertains to the time, again, you know, if we're thinking that 6:30 would be helpful to get more public engagement, I'm all for that. And if we can do the additional meetings at 6, that works for me. I'm curious what staff thinks about that, though.
I think that most of the time we probably could make sure that we do the work sessions within half an hour, but there might be heavier topics that could be a challenge. And I think some of my staff, especially those that don't go home, would, welcome an earlier start as well, especially when we don't have work sessions. I guess I question whether or not, and I just don't know, but I guess I question whether or not a half an hour would be confusing for the public, or, how much of a difference that would make. But
So we're talking about potentially moving it from 7 o'clock to 6:30 start, and 6 o'clock work sessions as required.
yeah, yes, that is what we're talking about. I do think that it could be really tight when, getting from there to here. You've got probably 25 minutes at most.
Gotcha. I actually like that, but that's just from a time constraint to keep us on topic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to council.
Can we keep it open to 5:30 if it's a longer session? I mean, 5:30 to 6:30 for a work session, if we need more time. I mean, I don't know if that works for everybody, but it'd be nice to have it a half an hour, but it seems like a lot of them go a lot longer than that.
I would say they might go longer because they can go longer. So that's just I think if you have a time limit, staff will be more, we'll make sure that we have the time, and then, council would likely be more specific with their questions. Again, I think staff would be perfectly fine with a 5:30 start if that worked for council. So that's certainly, it's really up to, we'll make it work. So it's really what works for council.
I think you could do a dry run without changing the council rules yet, right? We could try one at 5:30, or we can't because it has to be published.
Yeah, we would publish it, but we can publish you mean for the work sessions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can publish that. Those are really, I think, as called, so those aren't a set time.
Okay.
That's in the council rules.
Leave it up to y'all.
I honestly, sorry, Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor
Go
Potty.
ahead.
I get concerned about changing it and just confusing people. That's my first thought. I thought that was actually a really good point. I didn't think of that. I also, again, if there's like a huge ask for that, sure, let's do it. But otherwise, I just feel like consistency might be the best way to go.
Mr. Mayor,
Council Orr.
is the whole point that we believe that we will get more public engagement if we start at 6?
I think that's the argument, right? Was that we would get more public engagement. And I can, in my time of sitting here, I recall 2 comments from the audience saying, "I wish that the meetings were earlier." And I think that, like, the one I recall was because that person waited around after their job had ended to come attend, and they were actually giving testimony. So that's after all this time being here, that's only a couple comments I've received. All right, council. Someone take the lead here.
Mr. Mayor,
Council Orr.
so if no one has big feelings about changing it to 6:30, and we feel like that could potentially, I don't know, I feel like if we change it to 6 and then we have work sessions at 5, that's absolutely not gonna, if your intention is to try to get more diverse groups of people to join the council, you're going to alienate people who are working when they get off at 5 and then can't make the meetings or stressed to get to meetings. So that's not, I don't feel like that is, that's going to work for the council side of things. So if we want to, sorry about that, if we want to move it down to 6:30, then potentially have, I think it really just depends on the topic. Some of the topics we can do and we've done in half an hour. Some of them, I feel like we do hash it out for an hour, and that's applicable. So I think you can kind of gauge how long we might need to, it's like, oh, this topic needs more time. So you might need to like extend a work session to another day or something if it ends up taking more than the 30 minutes you thought. But I feel like changing it to 6:30 to try to get more engagement would be worth it. And then to the point of trying to get staff out of here a little sooner as well.
What does council think about Council Ort's suggestion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Sims?
I think we should give it a try. I mean, see how 6:30 goes, as long as we're publishing the time and make sure we give the notice. Might be a little confusion at first if, people used to 7 o'clock, but, I mean, if it doesn't work, we could go back to 7.
I trust that our community engagement coordinator can do a great job advertising the change in time. All right, what does council want to do then? So I hear 2 6:30s, but I don't hear.
I'm totally in favor of that. If it doesn't
Patty?
work, then we can just go back to 7 o'clock.
Okay, Councilor Patty?
I mean, I've already kind of voiced my opinion. I'm not in favor of it, but the majority has been reached on this, so let's do it.
Okay, there you go.
So with that direction, I will bring back a resolution for you to modify your council rules and make this official. And then, as you discussed, if it's not working, we'll have further discussion and you could amend that again.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, council.
Mr.
Council Ort, go ahead.
Well, to the point of calling for the question, since this is different than how we normally do it, do we want to keep it this way and start doing it this way, or are we going to change it to calling the question means end of discussion?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it was a clarification from Julia about the way we're doing it incorrectly, and that's based on Robert's Rules of Order. And I think Robert's Rules of Order is the standard, so I think a reminder maybe when we encounter that, just for now that council's all aware of it, and then just maybe if we admit it, you could remind us. So I don't know that we need to put it anywhere unless you have stronger opinion.
No, I guess I just meant that, do we want to keep this the way that it is and follow this rule, the way this rule is written? Because it says that a call for question fails without a majority vote, and we don't do that.
So, Councilor, that is based on Robert's rules, is my understanding. And what that means is when someone calls the question, currently, like at the Budget Committee, someone calls the question, it just goes straight to a vote and there's no discussion. What should be happening is someone calls the question, the group votes on whether or not they want to call the question. And if they don't, then discussion continues. And if they do, then it goes straight to a vote.
Correct.
Right.
My question is, do we want to change this to the way that we're doing it?
Gotcha.
Or do we want to keep this and do what this says? I personally like this because I like to discuss things, so sometimes they get a little wordy, and I get that.
So are you saying that you want to follow Robert's Rules of Order?
I would personally, but I'm just bringing this to the attention of just for the sake, obviously for the sake of speaking, I just want to bring it to the attention, do we want to follow the way that we've always done it, or do we want to keep this?
Gotcha, understand. So you're saying ignore Robert's Rules of Order on that particular issue and do it the way we've been doing up to this point?
Yes, I'm just merely asking how the other counselors want to do that.
There you go.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor
I'll jump up first with an opinion on this one. I kind of like the reminder, to be honest with you, because I feel like if there is a majority to move on with the question, I feel like we should probably do that.
All right, so
So keep this language. Got it. Carry on.
All right, so someone clarify what we're talking about here. What are we doing?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor
real
Carey,
quick.
go ahead.
So, just a little curveball. Okay? I like baseball. So, we got 7 meetings left in 2025.
Right.
Let's keep it the way it is. Look into the new year. We'll jump into this time change after people have been notified and we've got feedback via Facebook or whatever else, however else we advertise it.
Gotcha. That works for me. But let's get back to this Robert's Rules of Order thing.
Yeah, I'm a little, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
So I'm a little confused. So if you call a question right now with the Robert's Rules of Order, you vote on if you want to continue to make questions, to do questioning.
Right.
Right.
I would prefer to stay with that instead of go directly to a vote myself.
All right. That's your take. David, good? You're good? Okay. We're good. Thanks for reminding everybody on that one.
And then on Councilor Carey's curveball, will I still be bringing a resolution forward at the next meeting, but we're talking about maybe not instituting the time change until the beginning of the year?
I would say yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
I'm good with that. That gives
But
us
I'm just one voice.
Yeah. That gives us ample time to make people aware of the change. Councilor Patty, it looks like you got something. No? Yeah, gotcha.
Well, and that also will give us some time to maybe test out the 30-minute work sessions. So that might be good too, to see if that's possible.
All right. We're not making at this like next month or nothing. Yeah. That's what the curveball was. We're good? All right, if council does anything else on that topic, we're going to move on. Right? Sounds like we're good. All right, so we're done with that, and then we're going to move on to public works projects and no?
I've still got vision and values.
Oh, all right. Well, I can skip. It's my agenda.
You can
I
do whatever you
move
want.
around
You're
if I
right.
want. With that, we're going to go to continued discussion of vision and values. Julia?
I think this will be fairly quick. So if you remember when we did our goal setting, we had discussion of doing a vision and values, and council determined that there wasn't a desire to do a robust citywide visioning exercise, but there was some discussion about having some value in having a vision and value statement from the council. The consultant drafted an initial version of that to serve as a starting point, and then in May we brought that to council for refinement. You asked for some additional time to think about it, and we gave you until June 13th. We did get some feedback from Councilor Carey and Councilor Sims, and so basically that's what's presented here this evening on page 36 and 37 of your packet. The consultant proposed vision was Stayton is a vibrant, connected community where people come first, growth is intentional, and every resident has the opportunity to thrive. Councilor Sims, and he can speak to this a little bit more, but I think he was looking at some other cities' visions and had a little bit more words. I'll read it. It says, "We envision Stayton that celebrates its history, traditions, and heritage, embraces diversity, encouraging deliberate change, while celebrating our past, present, and future. Our future Stayton is a connected community with broad citizen engagement, a clear vision for the future, and a detailed plan of action to achieve it. We envision a Stayton with a strong economy and viable locally owned businesses, carefully balancing economic growth with our continued small town livability, quality of life, and affordability. Our Stayton is guided by a comprehensive plan for our future growth with strong leadership, meaningful public involvement, informed decisions, and agreement on our community's key directions. We envision a Stayton that meets the basic needs of all of its residents, including quality jobs, affordable housing, accessible health care, and community safety." So that's the vision. And then the values, I'm not going to read them all because I don't want to, but the consultant proposed values intentionality, collaboration, stewardship, engagement, and progress. And then both Counselor Sims and Carrie had mentioned transparency, and Counselor Sims added or proposed a transparency value that says transparency. We are upfront and visible about the action we take. We embody honesty and open communication. So based on direction from council, and there's no urgency, if you want to think about it some more, you absolutely can. But based on whatever direction I get, the plan would be that I would bring forward a resolution for council to adopt your vision and value statement as well.
Okay. An opportunity for a public comment. Mr. Raba, do you have anything to say? Or Mr. Hayes? Doesn't look like it. All right, council?
Mr. Mayor?
Counselor Sims.
So what I did, I just looked at some similar sized cities and found some of the vision statements that I liked, and I modified it to how I like it. I mean, I did some plagiarization. I plagiarized a little bit, but I modified it and kind of made it what I thought was a good vision statement. So that's kind of my process, what I did.
Mr. Sims, point of order. You used the word plagiarized. I'm just being funny.
Borrowed.
Counselor Patty, you got something?
No, I want to say thank you for contributing this, Counselor Sims. This is awesome. I really appreciate it. And I think that this is it's pretty good. I like the consultant proposed values with Counselor Sims' addition. Don't tell the consultant, but I like Counselor Sims' proposed vision better. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Counselor Ort?
I think it's great. Good job. You're just flattering the other cities by using their language.
I'm sorry, what?
So you're just flattering the other cities by using their language.
Well, yeah, I mean, I modified things to how I thought sounded good, but
That's good.
yeah.
I like it.
As long as you don't submit it to Reader's Digest and make money off it, we'll be okay. Counselor Carey, anything? All right, you got direction on that?
So I'm hearing.
I do like the way you highlighted celebrate traditions, heritage, kind of incorporated all that into our little statement. Could we do that?
So I'm hearing a desire for something adopting the Counselor Sims' proposed vision and then the values, including the transparency value. Is that okay? Thank you.
Okay. That moves us to Public Works Projects, Detroit Dam Deep Drawdown Update, and we'll have Mr. Buchanan come on up.
And actually, as he's coming up, I think I'll do the drawdown update, just because there's not a whole lot to update other than that we have been meeting, and Mayor Quigley and Counselor Sims has been part of that. We've been meeting with folks from the Regional Solutions Team and the Governor's Office to explain in more detail what's been going on or what our concerns are. We met with Representative Deal. We had a meeting this afternoon with our lobbyists from CFM just to kind of get a status update on that. And so there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, discussion, really making sure that everybody understands the issue, and it's been really helpful because we found that they didn't understand the issue, and now they do much. They do, and so we're continuing to elevate the issues and the concerns. And actually, we have a meeting with Representative Bynum before her town hall meeting next Saturday, based on, I think, the information that we provided last week. They asked for a meeting of both us, but then also other Detroit or Canyon cities, Detroit, Gates, Mahama, to talk about the issues. So I don't know, Mayor Quigley or Counselor Sims or Barry, if you guys had anything more to add, but there's lots of talking, but not really necessarily any new information to share.
No, Julia, one thing I would just emphasize what you said. I think those meetings were successful in awakening, if you will. I think there is a misunderstanding about the differences between our city and Lebanon and Sweet Home. So I think the challenge for us has been, and I think we were successful in articulating the differences. And so I think I appreciate Barry being there and really putting the focus on the distinctions, and that really opens a lot of people's eyes, and actually having them be able to set that apart on really what is at stake for Stayton versus the other communities has been highlighted. So thank you.
And
Mr.
now,
Mayor.
oh, go ahead.
Councilor Patty, go ahead.
Yeah, at the risk of being blunt, I was told I talked too close to the microphone. I'm gonna work on that tonight. What is the confusion for them? I mean, I hear you saying they think that we're like Lebanon. I mean, Lebanon suffered too. Like, what do they not understand? I guess, is it just an education issue, or I'm very confused and incredulous, might I add.
Well, I think Barry can elaborate, but really what it comes down to is the distinction between our slow sand filter and the other types of filters they had up there in use. And really they think they can mitigate what happened up there here for us, and we simply know that's not going to be the case. So I'll refer to Barry on the rest of it and the technical details.
Yeah, and I think that's education piece. So just they think they know what something is. So for example, when we were meeting with Representative Deal, he's like, I have a sand filter for my pool, and we're like, no, it's not at all the same thing. Like just not understanding what a sand filter is versus a slow sand filter, and what is involved in that, and they're not. We've gotten. It's taken a long time for us to get understanding and educated, and like Mayor Quigley said, every time he's in a meeting with Barry, he learns a little bit more and a little bit more. And so I appreciate the incredulous, but it takes time, and we just need to make sure we're staying on top of it. And even with the Corps, they shared some information with Representative Deal that I'm sure they believe to be correct, and that appeased him, made him feel like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. And we're like, well, but here's why we think it is. And so we just need to continue to the conversations and continue the education and continue to highlight why it's different, and that's, we're very thankful to have Barry, because he really does know this inside and out and can highlight those differences. So it's exceptionally helpful. And I guess they don't have a Barry, so they need that education. So if you want technical information from Barry, he, I'm sure, is happy to answer it, or he can just do an update on Public Works.
I've been told I'm not allowed to talk about it tonight because I do spend too much talking about the technical detail. So I'm going to make it open that if anybody wants to talk to me specifically about the detail and understand the differences as we've explained to Representative Deal, I'm more than happy to sit down with you and go through it. But I don't want to spend time, I don't think it's necessary to spend time right now going through the specific detail unless someone wants it.
Council have any quick questions for Barry?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilor.
So I went to Rep Deal's town hall that he had, and it was, I think, the day before you guys were going to have a meeting with him, which I thought was like perfect timing. But he had made mention, and so I'm just curious if this is what kind of he was alluding to, or what you're alluding to, is that he was saying, oh, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to try to do it in smaller bits and try to draw down a little bit. And I was like, that's not going to work. When they're talking about, I just knew that it wasn't going to. I was like, that's not going to work. And all I could think of was Barry's going to tell him exactly why that's not going to work.
I appreciate your confidence.
Yes.
And that is what happened.
Is that okay? Because that's
Yes.
when he was talking about it, I was like, I'm not even gonna approach him about it. I'm gonna let the expert explain to him why that's not gonna work.
Okay, great. So a two-second update then, as far as that's concerned. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, that's it. the subtle drawdown approach that the Corps is talking about, from what we've heard, the limit of turbidity that they're still talking about is still 10 to 15 times what we can stand. That's basically the bottom line. Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking when he was talking about that. I was like, it's still not, whatever they think is they're going to do is not going to be.
And they're still comparing the South Santiam filters with our filter capability,
Sure.
and that's really the difference. We believe that they will be educated about that with the City of Salem going and visiting with them, and with us talking to them soon, very soon as well. So I think that change will come with the Corps relatively soon.
Okay, cool.
Are we good? Okay, so a brief update. I've been told I have to be quick tonight, so I'm going to try and be quick. We did have our interviews for the AM position last week.
Asset manager.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the asset management position last week. We had 3 candidates present themselves. One has withdrawn already. We're making a decision this week on how we'll move forward. The engineering position, we only got 1 candidate, as I think I explained a couple of weeks ago. We're going back out for re-advertising that position and trying to capture that. We also lost 1 operative at the wastewater treatment plant this past week, resigned and is moving to Canada. We're looking at filling that position as well. So we've got really a staffing issue directly in the administration building and the administration staffing, and we've got 1 at the wastewater treatment plant as it stands right now. But we are coping and we are moving forward. The water treatment plant, we've identified that there are a couple of issues that do need to be addressed immediately at the water treatment plant, and that's a method of isolating and turning off the water treatment plant inlet water supply. We've bought the valve about 1.5 years ago apparently and have not installed it, so that project will be moving forward as soon as practically possible. The valve itself, there was discussion on where the isolation should take place. Should it be on the channel or should it be in the line going to the plant? We've decided that it should go in the line going to the plant, so that we have the possibility for pre-treatment to go between the 2 points as it stands today. In addition to the water treatment plant, we have a rainy well that we're investigating. That has just been cleaned up and reinstated back to a good operational condition. We have 2 other wells on the water treatment plant that we're looking at potentially upgrading and putting back into service. At the moment, excuse me. We don't know why the 2 wells were taken out of operation in the past, but we believe they are operational. God, I'm going to choke. We're also looking at the 2 intertie possibilities, one with Sublimity and one with the City of Salem, on how we can get water and utilize water availability. Pre-treatment, I was actually talking to one of the vendors today, and they are in actual fact putting a plan together for us, utilising, as I've suggested previously, DAF with follow-on processes similar to that used in Sweet Home. They don't believe that the Sweet Home process by itself would in actual fact benefit us directly, so they are looking at different packaging in some respects. Leak detection, as it stands today, we have had a leak detection company come out and go around our system and identify leaks in our system. We're actually, this is a bad report in actual fact, we're actually 0 for 5 hits as it stands at the moment. So the leak detection company has identified 5 potential leaks. We've dug them up and haven't found any leakage in the place that they in actual fact identified. We've had them back a second time and have identified other places that are close to those leakage points, and we have found 2 that in actual fact meet the criteria of a leak that needs to be repaired. We have done those repairs. In addition, we are working, a couple of weeks ago we had a visitation to the Sylvan Estates stormwater system. Investigation around that is showing that we do have a beaver problem. We have beavers in the pond adjacent to Cascade Highway. We believe that they are in actual fact blocking the exit from the pond, drainage from the pond, which is backwatering back up into Lucas Ditch, which is backflowing into the Sylvan Ponds. We're looking with the county on who can maintain the bridge outlet, or the outlet across Cascade Creek better, across Cascade Highway. The creek downstream of Cascade Highway also has about 3 beaver dams in it, and that's backwatering back into that pond. So we have to look at that in a bigger picture on how we can actually solve the problem all the way to Mill Creek, in fact, which is a significant amount of work. They're the highlights for the last week or 2 weeks. We do have, of course, we're in the process of formulating contract for Shaft Road water main. We have the ongoing work on the roadways, on the 3 roadways, 5, 6, Water Street and High Street. Those contracts are being formulated as it stands right now. I'm hoping that within the month we'll have those contracts out and that work will actually be underway. In addition to that, we have the overlay work that is being planned for the near future on Westtown Drive, and there's about $1 million worth of work going on there, which includes 8 ADA ramp adjustments and changes before we can actually do the work. The safe routes to school work is also going on the streets on Fern and Third, thank you. Yeah, and that is also a change of ramps and signage, stop signage. So that's ongoing, and that'll be going forward. The contract will be out there in the next couple of weeks. I don't think there's anything else that I really have to report right at the moment, unless anybody has questions specifically about other utilities.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Sims.
Excuse me. Are we still doing smoke testing?
Not this week, but there will be additional smoke testing in the next couple of weeks. Yes, that has caused
Do we
an
just
issue.
make sure we get that information out? I've had a few firefighter acquaintances ask me to please make sure people know about the smoke testing because they're getting calls. So
Right.
We do have
I know you're
information out
trying.
on
It's
social
just we
media.
just
Yeah. I wonder if we can put something in our newsletter, I mean, it might be too late for now, but just in general, so that people know, hey, if you have smoke coming out of your yard
Okay,
in a line.
one of the issues that we have identified is that our door hangers and our information that we're putting out to the public is not good enough. And we're addressing that directly, that the way we're actually notifying before and also notifying problems afterwards is not communicating the actual issue or the methodology to the public so that they can understand. So we're getting a number of calls back into the office saying, we do not understand, even though we've got this door hanger that says we need to replace the cap. What cap? Where's the cap? What's the cap for? Da 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 da. So we're actually revisiting our messaging and notifications for that very exercise.
Councilor Carey.
Mr. Mayor, Barry, thank you very much for your expertise and your knowledge about that drawdown. What are the chances, and I've seen how impactful Ed Deal's town halls are, if we had something similar to what we've held at Snow Peak and allowing Barry to come in and give an update to our community? And I think it'd be very informative.
Councilor Carey, thanks. Julia and I actually spoke about it, and so maybe I'll defer that question to Julia.
I was getting whispers in my ear about something else. I'm sorry. So what was the question?
Just how impactful Ed Deal's town halls are at Snow Peak. Is that something we can ask Barry to attend and inform the community and the residents from up and down the canyon of what's going on with the drawdown?
Yeah, we absolutely can attend those, as well as, we want to have our own, you know, we're talking about having potentially our own town halls, our own ways of getting information out. So, and it's a little, it's almost ever changing, so we just need to make sure we're out getting the information out. The best place for people to get information is our website in terms of up-to-date information. But we can, you know, if invited, we absolutely could come to his town hall and share information. But we're talking about potentially doing some informational outreach on our own as well.
Yeah. Another opportunity for public comment? Council? Any further questions for Barry? Thanks, Barry. Appreciate it. Communication from city staff, Julia?
I don't have a lot of things, and some of them are going to be for Alyssa, but the two that I have on my list are just a reminder, the League of Oregon Cities Conference is coming up October 2nd through 4th. The early bird deadline, or the pricing deadline, is coming up soon, so if you are thinking you're going to go, it's not too late, but the sooner you let me know, the better, because we will likely get a better price. And then I just wanted to let council know that we're having an all-city staff meeting next Monday, so City Hall is going to be closed from 10:30 to 12. So I just wanted to let you know that, and we did share that information out as well. And then Alyssa's got a couple of updates for you.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Quick updates. The first one is about the AV sound system, video system in here. I think I've told you, Key Code Media had the lowest bid, and we've signed a contract with them in August, I think early August. So the items have been on order now, and it's kind of just a wait and see. We also worked with Key Code. They had a contact for the council dais, which was in one of your weekly updates 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that is on order also. So it's going to be probably winter-ish before things get installed. We've got to wait for the dais to get here so they can do programming for the sound system, because it all is like mapped out of where things sit in the room and all this fancy high-tech stuff that maybe I'll understand a little more once they do install things. But we're getting there. It's in progress. The next update that I wanted to give was just on the pool closure. We're in our annual maintenance closure right now. There's great things happening over there. I was in the building today. They've got the locker rooms have been painted, and they are sandblasting the floors, getting ready to put the new coating on the floors so that they're not quite so slippery, and gets rid of there was this feeling that the floors are dirty, but they're not. It's just the paint and the surfacing was wearing off in there, and it was getting slick, and so that should all be great. We're getting new flooring in the lobby. They're actually, for a super low price, they were able to redo the floors in the office area also, so that it's going to get redone. And then the whole interior of the main pool building is going to get painted in the next week. There were some hiccups with the painting, not on our part. It was on the part of the contractor, is my understanding. They didn't maybe do some prep correctly, so it's kind of delayed things. We're hoping it's not going to affect us reopening next week, but there is that possibility, and we'll be sure to be getting the word out to members and making it right for everybody. And so hopefully not. They've been working some long hours over there from what Emily let me know. And I think other than that, they've just been, we've got one pool employee that has been working in there repainting like words that are on the deck, like no running, and the markers for the depth are being repainted, just little things like that. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. Thanks.
Any questions for Alyssa before it looks like Chief Johns has an update as well? Okay, Chief Johns.
I just wanted to update that with the start of school, we've got officers out strategically in the morning hours before school and then afternoon after school. Visibility for kids walking to school and parents dropping kids off, that's increased presence, but also traffic enforcement as well. And then since the last council meeting, we had Safety Town, and I'll just do a quick update because we've seen social media posts and other information go out, but we graduated 39 campers that are 5 and 6, and we had 18 middle school or high school students that volunteered their time. Public Works came out and set up our little Safety Town out there. We had lifeguards from the pool that gave their time to do safety lessons. We had city councilors' kids that volunteered their time. So a lot of reach from within our city. A big shout out to Melanie and Kim from police records that really helped to make the week go smooth with the prep work ahead of time. But it involved a lot of partners. Every day we had a couple different professionals that came in, and then at graduation it was fun for the campers and the counselors and the parents and guests to see that this was very supported. The mayor was present, which was awesome. We had the fire chief present. School superintendent would have been there sparing a last-minute family urgent matter that had to be taken care of. But we had Metcom director drove down from Woodburn to be a part of graduation, Saniam Hospital ambulance supervisors. So a lot of support within the community and partners to make sure our kids are safe, and supporting our middle school and high schoolers that were volunteering their time. Additionally, we just went through a CIS assessment, best practice assessment, and I know that Julia gave you feedback on that, but I wanted to publicly announce that we went through that. It's ended up in a 63-page document talking about where we match up with policies and practices in risk factors that CIS looks at. So we got a score of 95. I'm very proud of our agency and the work that they do, every day in the work that's done on patrol, but also in the office. And so very pleased with that. The three things that were big takeaways were us needing a secure lot, which is not a surprise at all, but needing to have it for safety and security, having a secure lot, a continuity of operation plan, which is already underway with the city and our emergency management, and then an early warning system with, we're small enough, we kind of know what's going on every day, but just that feedback, having it on paper and where we can focus how we move forward is very important. So I want to draw attention to those things.
And Chief Johns, can you tell them what an early warning system is? I actually kind of Googled it, or I think I found out through the document itself, but I don't think people know what an early warning system is.
Just tracking different maybe high risk or problematic areas that might be present, and then how to see trends or things that we, like I say, in a small agency, we're kind of aware of the everyday things, but it's still good to have a tracking system that's going to spit out data that's going to help us see if there's a potential issue or risk or problem.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Patty?
Gwen, I just want to really thank you for the investment you've made in Safety Town. I have gotten to appreciate that from William's perspective as a camper, and now my daughter's perspective. And I used to, go through the store and expect somebody would run up and talk to me about something council related. But now I have the expectation that my daughter is going to run into a camper everywhere we go throughout town. And so it's kind of fun to see her fit into that community and be a mentor to those kids. And I just want to thank you for doing that program, and I want to see that continue. I think it's building community here that we didn't have previously, and I really appreciate the time and investment that Melanie spends on that too, and all the staff. So thank you so much. And then great job on the CIS audit, whatever you call that, best practices assessment.
Thank you. Yeah, and I could talk for a long time about Safety Town, but it's it's much bigger than the 5 and 6-year-olds. Obviously, that's our focus and the safety of that, and the greatness that that brings. But I loved seeing campers get out of the car, walk across the parking lot, and make their parents stop at the crosswalk, look both ways, and sing the crosswalk song. So you know that they're getting stuff out of it. And kudos to the parents that took the time, stopped, and sang, as well. But just the partnerships too, like the hospital having good dialogue with us face to face, and being excited about how they can contribute more and be even a bigger partner to it. So there's a lot of takeaways from it outside of just the week of camp as well, and building partnerships with our other city and bigger regionally partners that we have.
And as you've mentioned before, and I think Councilor Patty alluded to, it's also a great experience for these middle school and high school kids to go through the process of applying and interviewing, and then the leadership skills that they get too. So it's sort of a double win.
Yeah, Chief, I would tell you the attending the graduation was the icing on the cake, I think. Not having known what it was about until the day I got there, right? And seeing all these kids smile and seeing how you controlled them for the most part, getting them to be quiet. And I think you were even surprised at one point they were so quiet in the room. But just the smiles on their faces, you can see that they actually captured and retained what you were teaching them. And then subsequently, after that, I had a discussion with one of the parents on Thursday night, and they're like, I can't tell you, Brian, how successful that was. My kids can't stop talking about it. So kudos to everybody. Melanie, your team, your kids, David, your kids, just everybody that came together, like you said, it was awesome to see. So great job.
Well, thank you. And truly, our first year, we couldn't have done it without the library and the Library Foundation. The contribution of time and effort in getting the houses built and the cars put together, and actually just getting it off the ground, but also the foundation with donations that they made that helped us. And we'll continue to partner within the city and with the library as we move forward, for sure.
Very cool. Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Gwen. You done? That's it? Okay.
Would you like me to bring Barry back up?
Not yet, not yet. Opportunity for council and mayor communication. I'll let the council go first.
Mr. Mayor.
Council Carey.
I brought this up a few weeks ago, excuse me, and with school back in session as of today, I'd like to seriously look at that controlled speed of 45 miles an hour up near Wolf Ridge. I'd like to see if we can work on keeping that at 25 past the apartments, and then resume back up to 45. As a transportation manager years ago, we have kids coming on and off that bus in the morning and in the afternoon. People are going by too fast.
Sorry, that is on my my list of things to follow up on, but I am adding that again, and it's I think we need to be talking with the county about that as well. But and then it's also, to a certain extent, some of those speed changes will be captured through the Safe Streets for All discussion. But
That'd be one to really
I
look
will
at.
raise that up on my list.
And also, Chief,
About East San Am.
yeah, I'm going up towards your place. Chief, also thank you for the extra patrol today. As I drive my dogs through town every day, I saw police officers in places I'd never seen them before.
Julia, just to dovetail real quick, I'm going to remind the council of our discussion about, if you're okay with that, about Jefferson, 10th, East San Am. So if you all look at that funky S-turn right there where Jefferson goes into 10th, goes into East San Am, goes into Jefferson again, into David's in my neighborhood and Jordan's neighborhood, or road. That's a complex intersection right there, and with the addition of the new building for Doris's place, yeah, it's a very, very busy intersection. And Julie and I talked about it. What I would like is that the council look at that intersection over the next couple days and or week, just to see if you can put together pieces how we could better control that street. And I don't want to you can allude more about the no parking piece on it.
Yeah, so basically, Mayor Quigley brought that up, and I'm like, I was sort of surprised that there was parking allowed there anyways, because it's a collector and arterial. So I was looking at the transportation system plan, and it is both, part of it is a collector, part of it is a minor arterial. And when you look at the transportation system plan and the street width for those, it doesn't have on-street parking, and the TSP, transportation system plan, identifies bike lanes on the shoulders of those roads. And so it was, my question was like, well, we probably could make an argument for no signing, for no parking, but what's the appetite to do that? And so that's, I think, where Mayor Quigley's kind of getting to, is like that would take away parking, but it is within the transportation system plan, at the very least, maybe from First to the outside of, or the other side of that 10th Street intersection. So wanting feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead,
Mr.
Councilor.
Mayor. I was actually just talking about that very S-curve with my husband, because he was like, are you supposed to be able to park on the sides of the road? And we have had discussions about people parking long-term there. But I always assumed that they were bike lanes, that's what they were.
I think the transportation system plan envisions it. They're not marked as bike lanes,
Yeah.
and so that, I think, what the TSP actually has a project to stripe and like put paint on the ground to make them marked as bike lanes. So that's something that, I guess I think a deeper conversation about that. It is county for most of it, I believe. So it would require us to coordinate, but getting. Again, if we're taking away, like having it signed no parking and taking away parking, just wanting to know what the appetite is from council.
Yeah, so if you all would just look at that over the next couple of weeks, and I think it's a very busy intersection. I would like to do something to mitigate the traffic that's going to be there, that's there now, and that's going to be there in the future. So that's that.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilor Pack.
I just have one follow-up question on that, and you may not know yet, Julia. With the conceptual plan that's envisioned, do they have parking like set aside for that area, or are they envisioning daycare kiddos, parents parking on the street to walk up to
For
there?
the Doris's place,
Yeah.
I am certain that they have on-site parking.
Okay.
I don't know how much on-site parking, but
Okay.
they would have to have parking.
Thanks.
There was something about the light at Washington and First. A lot of banter back and forth about that light and the turn signal that used to be there. I know we talked about it in the past. Can we maybe put that on the radar again? I know that intersection is misaligned and it's kind of funky, but there was a light there at one point, a turn signal, and I know why it's not there anymore, but I don't want to belabor that. But maybe we could talk about that again with the county. So,
yeah, I'll talk with Barry a little bit more about this as well. I don't know if I experienced it that day, but I experienced that and I actually went into the gas station and went the other way, because I'm like, I'm never going to be able to turn left here. So I understand the issue. Yeah.
And I will tell you that without knowing which lights were replaced, the light bulbs, have the light bulbs been starting to be replaced? The LED ones? Pretty sure.
I am going to have. I'm getting nods from both people that would know. I think the project has started, but it has not been completed.
I'm looking outside my house, and I'm like, who's in front of my house? And I'm looking out there, and I thought it was headlights. It's not headlights. It's the light bulbs in replaced. It's like, so definitely noticeable around town. I can tell you that much right now.
In a good way or a bad way?
I guess, well, depends on who you ask. In my situation, I think it's good. I think it's, more illumination. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I just noticed it. So I think there's been some feedback both ways.
Yeah, just FYI, I believe that we did select the dark sky. And James, I'm going to make you come up because I know you know more about this. We were given some options, and we selected the option that was more nature friendly. But can you allude to that?
It's called dark sky compliant. So it illuminates down, but you can still see the stars up. So the light is directional where it needs to be.
Gotcha.
And also, they wanted everyone to know that the lighting will actually shift, or it still makes adjustments for about 2 months. So if there are complaints, if it's too bright, wait a couple months, and then we can give feedback, and they can actually insert shields or like dampers if it's too bright into your bedroom light or something like that.
Thanks, James. Just something I noticed recently. So the last thing for me, I'm thinking about moving up the deadline for applications for the council position. Would that cause any problems? We're not getting very much responses at this point, and I don't know what would happen by keeping it open another 28 days.
Do you want to?
Just discussion with council.
We have announced that. So we have announced it. We could certainly, I guess, give us time to say new deadline,
Sure.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Okay.
Council?
Mr. Mayor? Oh,
Councilor Sims, go ahead.
the Our Town actually had an article on that.
Oh, they did?
In the
Okay.
paper, so I actually assumed that we might get more applications
Okay.
because of that.
Okay, fair enough. Councilor Patty, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with whatever you want to do with that. How many applicants do we have now, guys? Staff?
2 officially.
2 officially.
To my
Okay.
knowledge, is there?
No, that's right.
That's it, 2.
Copy. Thanks.
That's all I have. Anybody else? Go to the order. With that, we'll adjourn.